Aren't these adorable? Look, okay, so we've got a little happy face. So cute. Then we have, I don't know if you can see it, there's clouds. They're cute. Anyways, that's what both my fingers look like, and my makeup is like Gem in the holograms. So I feel cute today. I feel cute today. Guess what time it is? It's time for another leadership horror story. Da, da, da. I'm your host, Danny D. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I am an educator, helping you own the F out of who you are online and offline with self-expression, confidence, iconic leadership, which is actually an acronym,
integrity, communication, ownership, nuance, intention, capacity, and consent,
which is what we talk about in every single leadership horror story. And don't worry, I don't just sit here and poo-poo over different industries or poo-poo over different leadership styles. I look at the content and keep these stories super anonymous because they could literally happen to anyone. A lot of these sketchy things that tend to happen or harmful things that tend to happen are oftentimes learned behavior. That was me. I was an a-hole for a few years, and I'm sure if you met me, you would have been like, that's a lovely, kind human. But I did some shitty things, like cold message people, used people's pain points against them in my marketing. I put myself on a pedestal. I put other people on a pedestal, and I tried my best to be absolutely super duper perfect so people would hire me. Now that I know better, I try to do better, and I want to start these conversations because I wish that someone was on the internet questioning these things openly in my field of view when I was going through these things. So that is what we're talking about. We're talking about the learned behavior that is passed down in industries under the guise of success and looking at it and questioning it. And we are talking about the coaching industry. Now, don't come after me because I am also a part of the coaching industry and personal development industry. And if you've watched some of my leadership horror stories, especially the one that I got chased out of a leadership seminar for the sale and stuff like that, there are some things in the industry that we have to talk about. We do. And I'm not going to sit here and crap all over the industry because I think there's a lot of really amazing benefits. I think there's a lot of good stuff. I think there's a ton of good people. I love a lot of the humans. The point of this channel is to question things. It's not for me to call out people. I don't call people by name. I keep all of the stories anonymous. I ensure that actual situations are kept as private as possible. We're talking about the context because a lot of these stories are relatable to a lot of people because they've had similar situations happen. And when we have those patterns, we have to question it if we want to change those things. So that's where these videos come in. So today is all about the coaching industry. If you are a part of the coaching industry, I love you. If you do some of these harmful things, I still love you. You're still loved. You're still fabulous in your own way. And maybe you can learn from these stories to be like, oh, I didn't know I was being that harmful, or I didn't know that could be interpreted like that, or I didn't know that was kind of crappy to do, right? I'm learning every single day. I think we all are. And it's not about not making mistakes. It's about falling on our face and making mistakes and then looking at those mistakes and saying, oh, I messed up, ownership, saying, oh, I messed up. I did this really in a harmful way, and repair where we can. Maybe an apology, maybe that's changing our behavior, or actively calling ourselves out. And that's really what the iconic leadership model is for me. I created a framework for myself to keep myself in check. And I offer it to my clients to use and utilize and change and do whatever they want, but it's based off of my own value system. So without further ado, we're gonna get into the leadership horror story. Hold on. There was a time in 2017 when market research calls were all the rage, and that's how you could try and get clients. Now pause. For those of you who don't know what a market research call was, it was essentially in 2017, or it still probably exists for sure. It wasn't just in that one specific time, but it's essentially you get on a call and you ask this person a bunch of questions. So maybe you would get on a call with me and I would say, I'm doing market research about confidence. And you'd be like, oh, sweet. Okay, sounds good. I would love to talk to Danny. and help her out or whatever. And so I'd ask you a series of questions. And the first one would be like, what are you struggling with right now? They're just like kind of interviewing you to dip your toes into what I might want to market. Now, a lot of people actually utilize these calls, and we'll get to that in a second. Like a lot of strategies told people to utilize these calls as a pitch. So it would be like, you get on a call with me. I say, I'm just doing market research. I'm just new into my industry and I'd love to ask some questions. You think, I'd love to help Danny. I'd love to support her in her journey of entrepreneurship. I say, oh my gosh, amazing. Thank you so much. And then we get on a call and I ask you very specific questions of what you're struggling with. And then I use those answers to those questions as a pitch for my program at the end. So you don't know that you're actually on a sales call. And it is super sneaky and it's something that was widely taught. This is what that's referencing. Okay. Back to the story. There was a time in 2017 when market research calls were all the rage. And that's how you could try to get clients, like I said before. And like, I know, because I tried it and I was told to do it, yada, yada, yada. So this individual who is writing this story also had done them in their day, right? I was also taught to do them. So this is like a widely taught strategy, okay? It wasn't just a handful of people. It was like a very widely taught strategy. And so I was on a market research call and this individual who this person was on a call with was asking all these questions. And it was super nice and super great. And then all of a sudden, it was like the energy completely shifted. She just started pitching me this program and I didn't see it coming. And I didn't know that that was what this call was for. And I didn't ask for support. It wasn't even anything I wanted support in. And she was trying to hard sell me on a program and I was really, really uncomfortable. This was not in my consent. This is really important. So that's the story. These are short banger stories. They're great. What's really interesting is, yeah, that shift. Because it goes from being like, here is a conversation. So this person signed up for this market research call, probably because it was told to them that it would be a market research call, either under the guise of, hey, can you help me? As I'm going to be releasing this program and I'd love to just ask people some questions for market research. That person says, oh, I'd love to help you out. And it could be things that literally that person doesn't need help with. So for me, it might be, I don't know, like something, I'm trying to think of something that I literally could care less about. Cryptocurrency. Okay. So right now I don't care about it. If in 5 years I'm like, oh, I love cryptocurrency, feel free to DM me and tell me to look at this video and look at me in the past and be like, this right now, you didn't like it before. Cryptocurrency. If someone was like, hey, I have a market research call about cryptocurrency, are you interested? I would be like, not really. Like, I don't really care about cryptocurrency, but like, I'll help you out. I'll answer some questions. And if that person went through and was like, how do you feel about your income? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? And then they tried to then switch and pitch me against my will, literally non-consensually, because I didn't ask for that, I would be so caught off guard. Because I'd be like, I don't want help with this. I don't care about this. I was trying to do you a favor. And that's where it becomes so invasive. And that's why this is a very sneaky, non-consensual tactic, because it oftentimes is the person getting on the call is doing like a favor or helping someone out by answering questions, like an interview type deal, and trying to help that person get more context for their content. And then all of a sudden it's like they're getting pitched and it's put on them. All of a sudden a decision that they weren't even prepared to make is put on them. And hard selling someone is actively pushing their pain points or actively pushing their no, which is busting objections, which is non-consensual. It's questioning and pushing back on their no. So that's really what that is, and it's something that is widely taught, and that's that shift in energy. I remember there was some points in time where I would have to get on a sales call with people, and I just wanted to have a conversation. Like, I just wanted to like chat with people, get to know them, and then be on the call with them, and then it would be time to pitch. And it would be time to sell them on the program, and my energy would switch and I would get so anxious and I would be like, okay, like let's, and I'm sure that the person on the other end felt it, because it would be a conscious shift for me of, okay, I have to sell this person. I have to do this thing. I have to do this thing. So it wasn't authentic to me anymore. It wasn't a natural progression. It was like I had to turn on a flip of a switch to be able to pitch or to be able to tell this person why that person should work with me, right? Which is what it sounds like here in this specific situation, that there was probably an idea of, okay, so we're answering questions, we're doing a market research call, and then something switched and it turned into, I have to sell this thing to this person now. And it might have been from that person's coach that was kind of passed down, because I know that there was a lot of programs during that time that was like, you would go on X amount of sales calls and you would try to sell to people, and then you would have to like report back to your coach and be like, I got 4 no's and 2 yeses, or I got this, and then they would look at your sales strategy and then they would like tweak things, or they would actually tell you to record it. And so without asking for consent, because back then the Zoom thing wasn't like, this is being recorded, are you cool with that? It would just be recorded, and you wouldn't really know, I don't think, that it was being recorded. It would just be like, be recorded. So that was another thing. So then you'd have this market research call that would be recorded without telling the person it was recorded, and then like sent to the coach to then be like, how did I do with my selling? How was that, right? Yeah, it was kind of sketchy. I'm glad we're done with that, but I'm certain that probably someone out there still does that. So if you're watching this video, or if someone's done that to you, send them this video and they can see it. And that whole thing with the market research call and then getting on the call and it being something that is not what you signed up for is not informed consent. When that person said yes to the marketing call, they did not say yes to being sold to, and that's why that's non-consensual. Okay, on to the next one. This one breaks my heart because me and this person were buddies, and they're a conscious sales coach, or I should say woke, in quotations, sales coach. And she kind of treated me like garbage when it came to financial stuff. So I was in one of her group programs and I had a payment coming up that I wasn't going to be able to pay. Oh, that sucks. That's a very shitty feeling. Her group was so big that she had co-coaches, and I was like trying to get a hold of her, but I couldn't. And I was trying to get a hold of the co-coach, and I was telling co-coach I was with and telling her what the issue was and that I could pay on X date. And I was really trying to work things out, and I was freaking out a little bit. Yeah, that would be very like jarring. It was like none of that effort mattered or was acknowledged at all. And she was kind of an a-hole about it. And I got this really threatening email that was just an assumption that I didn't want to pay her. And it sucked because she was supposed to be woke in that sense and whatnot, but she was a total dick. That's not funny, but that sentence was funny. I think it was probably because of her overextending herself, but still, yeah, 100%. So here's the thing, is you're allowed to have boundaries around when you get paid, how you get paid, all that stuff. This speaking to everyone who is a service provider and owns their own business and or even as a freelance contractor. You deserve to get paid, and you deserve to get paid at a certain time so that you can also pay your bills and you can also pay what you need to pay, and like, you know what I mean? So that makes sense. That makes sense, right? That you would want to be paid by that time. And it makes sense that you would want to put boundaries in place if someone is trying to evade paying you, because that's a thing. Like, that happens. People try to duck out on their financial commitments a lot, and most of the time it's because they either can't pay or they don't know how to communicate that they can't pay or whatever, right? Or they just are kind of skeezy about that, right? And for whatever reason, that's their own shit. But what can happen and what can feel really crappy is that when someone is trying to work with another person on paying what they owe, how it's being told in this is that there was a good amount of time and notice given, and there was a lot of effort involved. So if I had someone who had an invoice due in 2 weeks, and I have a big group coaching program, I have to pay my coaches and all that stuff. If that person needed to pay in 2 weeks and they're like, hey, I actually need to extend it by a week because I don't get paid, I have to pay other people. And so it makes sense that there would be like a sense of like, oh shit, like someone's not paying. Like, how do I like get them to pay? How do I implement that boundary? But when someone does not have the financial privilege or accessibility to pay something, and they're trying everything that they can to have open communication, to have open dialogue, to tell you when they're going to pay. It's like you kind of just have to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to expect it from that time. And if it doesn't come by that time, we can talk about maybe removing you from the program or having an outstanding invoice, or some people might even go as far as going to collections or something. And this is something you should probably talk to a financial advisor or an accountant about, because this is not financial advice, guys. This is not financial advice. But what I am saying is don't be an asshole to people who are trying, because you do not know what they're going through. So if you need to talk to your financial advisor, if you need to like go through those things, awesome. But if someone is trying their best to get a hold of you, acknowledge that. And acknowledge that they're trying. And then if you have to actively go to greater lengths and stuff like that for the financial stuff, it's like that's a part of business that might happen. And that's something you talk to a financial advisor, a lawyer, or an accountant for. Not me, because I'm none of those things. But just don't be a dick about it. You know what I mean? And it's not a good feeling when you're in that position. Like I've been in a position before where I couldn't pay someone, and it was just the worst thing. And what we did is we just stopped the contract. I think I paid half of that invoice for the following month that I couldn't pay the full invoice for, and I paid as much as I could. And then that individual was like, you know what, like when you can pay the full amount, like that's when we'll continue working. I didn't ask for any of that money back because I was like, I told you I was gonna pay that. This is the amount that I can give. And like we've been on good terms. It still feels shitty. It's never not gonna feel shitty, I think. I don't know if I'm like fully over how shitty that felt. But yeah, it's just like, it's not a good feeling. So be kind to people. You can have boundaries, you can have policies in your business, and that's part of why policies are very important. So you can have boundaries, you can have policies in your business, and not be an asshole. And stating your policies, stating your boundaries is not being an asshole, but sending threatening emails and stuff like that when that person's trying to work with you is being an asshole. Okay, moving forward. In 2018, there was this coach, and she was a hard sell kind of coach. And it was almost like, you know, in a lot of MLMs, they don't tell you a ton of details up front. That's how she was. She wouldn't give a ton of info on her methods or her program, and it was, I think, $5,000 to $10,000, which was a lot to wrap my brain around. And I remember telling her she was doing a hard sales call with me through Facebook Messenger. So like messaging, I'm assuming, or like on Facebook call. And I remember telling her how broke I was, and like it wasn't a money mindset issue. I didn't have a credit card. I was one set from being homeless. I was living in my brother's house for free, and we couldn't afford groceries. I remember I had $100 in my bank account, and that was for me and my husband to get groceries for the week. And she was trying to get me to pay her $100. I tried to tell her how that was like all I had left, and she tried to get me to give it to her. Holy hell. What is wrong with people? Yeah, this is really hard. I remember learning from other coaches in the industry that I worked with that if someone says that they can't pay for something or they can't afford something, it's a money mindset issue. It's a money mindset issue. Flash forward to me taking a trauma-informed workshop for coaches. It was like, hey, privilege. It's like, hey, privilege is a thing. And sometimes you don't have financial privilege or accessibility to things. So if someone says they can't, and that's why I say, like, don't push on people's nose, because that person is like, I only have $100 for groceries. I'm in survival mode. I don't know how I'm going to eat tomorrow. And you're saying, well, that's just because you don't believe in affording and like in affording that or whatever. And I believe in manifestation. I believe in law of attraction. I believe in working hard for what you have. I believe in all these different things. And societal structures and systems and privilege are a thing, especially with financial privilege and poverty. It is a thing. It is a real thing. It's not that you just think positively about that situation. It's like you have to deal with the actual reality of your situation. You can have positive aspects of that situation. You can think positively around that situation. You can find the silver lining. But that person is still going through that situation, and you are on the side of privilege of being like, you should give that to me because you should afford this program. Being super transparent about this, by the way, guys. But I remember being like, okay, cool. Like if someone can't afford it, then it's just a mindset thing. It's just a mindset issue. When it was like, is it a mindset issue, or is this person in a space where they don't have the capacity financially to take this on. And like at the end of the day, yeah, I think my programs are super transformational. I love the work that I do. I think it's really helpful to people. And at the end of the day, it's just a fucking program. It's as I've had to say, it's just a fucking program. It's just a coaching container. It's not life or death. And I'm not going to market it to you like it is, because that's one thing that I've learned. And it's something that is really nice, and I like it, and I like working with people, and I love the work that I do. I love learning about this stuff, and it's a passion of mine, and it's something that has helped me in my life. And it's one of the reasons why I do what I do. And like all that stuff is valid. And at the end of the day, it's like, listen to one of my podcasts then, like do what you can for free. I have a membership that's like $6.99 a month. If that's all you can do, amazing. If you can't do that, that's okay. Go watch my free stuff. Go look at my YouTube videos, or go look at my TikTok videos. Like I give a lot of free content every day. And at the end of the day, it's a program. And like, if you want to be in it, I would love to have you. If you want to be in it and you can't afford it, I would still love to have you when that lines up. I had another one, but my camera is going to die. So we're going to leave it at that. I will save my next one for another video. Yay. Do you guys love these? I love these. This is very fun for me. I've been teaching kids for the past week, so my voice is so tired, but I love these and they're super fun. So anything you need from me will be down below. Links to my merch, links to my membership, which I'm redoing this month, and I'm very excited. It's going to be like a general studies course in everything that I do. So there's going to be like one section of my membership is going to be like sustainable confidence, and then another section is going to be like iconic leadership, and then another section will be social media consent. And then I'm just going to break down the things that I teach and talk about, and it's going to be really easy to find, very nice and clean, and then you can have access to it as much as you want, because it's $6.99 a month. You can keep going, or you can bow out whenever you don't want to be there anymore. And then if you upgrade to the $69.99 Canadian, this is Canadian prices, by the way, so look at your price thing for your country or region. But for $69.99, nice. You can actually get on a group coaching call with me every single month, because we get to talk face-to-face-ish through a computer screen, and we get to talk about all the things that maybe you've learned that week, or things that you're working on, or questions that you might have. And for people who are more verbal processors, that's a space for you to genuinely ask your questions, and none of them are recorded, so it's a very confidential space for us to just have a conversation, which I love. When you upgrade to VIP, you do have the replay of the iconic leadership workshop that I did, which was so good, and the social media consent workshop. So those are like 2 full workshops for you. The rest of it is just bite-sized content. It's gonna be amazing, and that's what you can expect. Oh, I have a very exciting update. I want to tell you this first. Okay, so do you remember the leadership horror story that I did about that company that did not treat their employees really amazing? I will link it above for you. Allegedly, it's been alleged to me that that company is going through major lawsuits right now, not only with the employees, but with clients and customers. So allegedly, shit's going down. So also why leadership is important and ethical leadership is important, so you don't get sued. Okay, that's all for me, friends. Kick ass, take names, change the world. You're freaking fabulous. Stop being so secretive about it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.